Welcome to Madlit Musings, the podcast where you get to eavesdrop on your favorite authors without getting caught. I've been stoked to have authors like Angela Hunt, Bill Myers, Nicole Deese, Tessa Afshar, comedian Bob Smiley, and more on the show, and this year I have another great lineup of storytellers and truth-sayers. If you love to eavesdrop at coffee shops like I do, this is the podcast for you. It's where we get real, we get tough, we laugh, and we might even cry. It's where we meet authors on a different level, where every story and podcast episode has its own heartbeat. So hang out with me today. I'm Jaime Jo Wright, your host at Madlit Musings. This is your podcast for real chats with real authors about real life. Hi everyone, it is Jaime Jo Wright here at Madlit Musings, and today I'm excited to have a new guest with us. I always love having new guests because that means new books that we may not have heard of before. But I have JPC Allen here with me today. Hello, how are you?
Very good. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here too. It's exciting to meet you, which I found out we'd actually met almost 10 years ago,
Yeah,
which is crazy.
briefly.
Briefly at a writers' conference, which is how
Yes.
lots of writers meet.
Yes.
We meet, we have conversations, and we're like, oh, we did meet once a long time ago when my
Yeah.
children were toddlers. Oh my goodness. So, well, it is great to have you here. I always tell listeners when you come and you listen to this podcast, you don't get a highly edited, amazing production. You get two people who are practically sitting in a coffee shop, just having a chat, and y'all who just logged on to listen just get to eavesdrop. So, we're going to chat today, but because I want to get to know you a little bit more as well, tell us a little bit about the books you write, who you are. I mean, anything you want to share that you think would be pertinent for us to get to know who's sitting across the table.
Okay, well, I chose JPC Allen for my pen name because my name is Jennifer and there's way too many of them in the world. And I figured if anybody looked up Jennifer Allen, they would never find my books. And
Smart.
it also turns out most of my favorite authors are dead Englishmen who had initials for names, so it seemed like a natural choice
That that is the
for me.
best explanation I've ever heard for somebody that has initials in their pen name. The dead authors that are the best authors are dead and had initials.
Yeah, I
Oh.
like J.R.R. Tolkien,
Hmm.
G.K. Chesterton, P.G. Wodehouse, C.S. Lewis. So
You're just following in the line and tradition of very great authors. So good for you. And you threw in a third initial just for good measure, JPC
well, yeah, I
Allen.
threw in my maiden name to honor my family.
Absolutely, absolutely. A lot of people don't know this about me, but Wright is actually my maiden name. It's not my married
Oh,
name.
okay.
So I have a different legal name, but I grew up as Jamie Wright, and that was one of the reasons I chose that was my dad was pivotal in my writing dream and story, so I wanted him to be honored by
Hmm.
seeing his part in that journey. So that's cool. I love that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So yeah, keep telling us
Oh,
more. This
okay.
is fun.
Uh, I grew up on mysteries. It started with Scooby Doo. Um, I can still watch like the first 5 seconds and tell you what the episode is going to be about. Um,
Oh, wow.
and went to the Hardy Boys. I always liked the Hardy Boys better than Nancy Drew.
Okay.
Trixie Belden.
Hmm.
Um, in high school, I read Agatha Christie and Sherlock Holmes. In college, I discovered Nero Wolfe Mysteries, which is my favorite series. So it was really natural for me to write mysteries.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why I always write teen mysteries because I see myself as a mystery writer more than a YA writer, but whenever I get a story, I usually gravitate to a teen main character, and
Okay.
that's what I have in my Rae Riley mystery. She's 19 going on 20.
Okay. Well, it sounds like a mystery series that my daughter is going to want to know about because she's 15 right now and she's been on a hunt along with some of her Instagram book friends for really good mysteries that are clean. And by clean, I mean they're not riddled with profanities or, things that, you know, at 15, you don't need to go there. So this is
No.
exciting. I love it. I love it. And so you're writing, maybe you're writing for that age group because you grew up loving mysteries, and so that's just that innate nostalgia, maybe.
Yeah. And I think teens make really good amateur sleuths because they will take risks that are harder to justify in an adult.
That's good. That's a good point. That is a really good point. So you can have
And
your hero or heroine just make bigger leaps that as an adult we'd be like, yeah, they'd never do that.
yeah, their nosiness is more excusable or, their risk taking is more excusable. And I guess there's something about the mystery of turning from a kid into an adult and solving mysteries that kind of go together.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, because you're kind of living out a human mystery
Yes.
for sure. Awesome.
And I've got two teenage boys right now, and it is a bit of a mystery to know, okay, when do I let them be more independent, when not? Driving changes everything.
Yes, I'm in the throes of that right now. Mm-hmm.
Are you the main teacher or your
No,
husband?
my husband.
Okay.
We would have probably World War III if my daughter and I tried to achieve good driving practices in a vehicle because she and I are both pretty bullheaded, and so we get at each other about the right way to do something.
Well, I'm one of four sisters, number two in line, and
Oh,
I helped teach my youngest sister. So when I got to my oldest son, I was remembering things from a long time ago, but I
mm-hmm.
for both of them.
Okay. Oh, good for you. Good for you. Yeah, my husband has a lot more patience, and I'm more like just push the gas pedal and go. Like, I don't know what else I can tell you. Oh, that's funny. So, can I ask what state of America you live in?
I live in Ohio. I've lived in
Okay.
Ohio my whole life, but both sides of my family is from West Virginia. So I
Okay.
feel like I'm a mountaineer with a very thin Midwestern veneer. I grew up in the eastern part of the state, which is still Appalachia. And
Yeah.
that's where I set my mysteries. I invented a fictional Ohio county, and
Okay.
it's rural.
Hmm.
And I live out in the country even now. And that's just where I'm comfortable. And it
Hmm.
it also makes the mysteries fun because there's still pockets where you can't get phone reception, and it
Right.
adds I can build in suspense and tension a whole lot easier in a rural
Yeah.
setting.
Yeah. I agree. I live in the country too. I live in Wisconsin. And we always, for family trips, we end up trying to go places where there is no cell service.
Yeah.
And I always think the writers like an Agatha Christie, not to diminish her at all, had it a lot easier
Yeah.
because they didn't have internet searches, Google, AI, fingerprint technology, DNA, all this stuff, and cell phones that we're like having to compensate for now.
Yes. A lot of compensation.
It's like, stop. Oh, funny.
Yeah, you don't realize unless you read a lot of mysteries how dependent mysteries are on technology. One of
Right.
my absolute favorite TV shows is Columbo.
Hmm.
And one of the episodes hinges on the fact that typewriters were turning electric. And instead of
Oh,
having a ribbon that you typed over and over again, you only typed on it once.
right, right.
So it's that as the
Yeah.
technology changes, the mysteries have to change.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting too. I was working on a novel that had some genetic identification for a cold case. And I had to look because that changes so fast now. And even what they can and can't do as far as pulling from DNA databases that are, technically public, like a
Oh yeah.
23andMe versus the legal ramifications. Can you not use that? And it's just, yeah, we start getting down these deep holes of like, is this even possible anymore to like write
Well,
in
it
this? I
must
mean,
be because there are cold cases.
that's true. That's true. I guess I don't want to say, can we successfully unalive someone without getting caught? But you do kind of wonder that nowadays.
Yes.
Oh, funny. So tell us a little bit about this Rae Riley mystery series that you have going. You have a book coming out in October called A Riddle in the Lonesome October,
Yes.
and that's part of the series. So kind of give us an overview of who Rae Riley is and what's happening.
Well, the series started when my publisher, Mount Zion Ridge Press, was putting together a Christmas anthology,
Okay.
and I was invited to write a short story. And it was like at the worst time of the year. It was December. I was teaching Sunday school. My in-laws were coming, and I cranked out a 10,000 word short story in 2 weeks, which is unheard of for me. And it
Hmm.
made sense. And I fell in
That's a
love with
plus.
these characters.
Okay.
Um, she's 19. Her mother's just died of cancer. Her mother had a terrible reputation before she was saved, and she doesn't know who Ray's father is.
Okay.
There's three candidates, and so Ray goes to see if she can find her father. And her mother told her right before she died that she was nearly killed, and she believes it was one of those three men. So Ray has to find out, was the assailant her father?
Wow.
And so in the mystery, she finds her father and solves who tried to kill her mother 20 years ago. And then
Okay.
the rest of the stories develop her relationship with her father, which is so much fun. I just love these characters.
Okay.
She's getting to know her dad. She's getting to know her dad's family, which includes her three half brothers, her dad's mom, aunts and uncles. And then she finds out she has an outlaw branch of the family. Her,
Oh,
her great grandfather has a notorious reputation as hot-tempered, busting up bars in his younger days, and
sure.
there are grifters and thugs on that side of the family. So it's a little difficult for her dad because he's the sheriff.
Yeah, that would be a little difficult. So a sheriff that kind of comes from a rabble-rousing, troublemaking family history.
Yes,
And Ray gets thrown into the midst of that. I like it.
yes.
I like it. I'm looking at your books. When I look away from the camera, I'm looking at your books over here just to kind of see them. And so you've got how many copies, how many books titles out under the Ray Riley series right now?
I've got two novels, A
Mm-hmm.
Shadow on the Snow and A Storm of Doubts, and then
Mm-hmm.
there's the you could consider it a prequel short story. And
Okay.
then I have one more short story in another collection. It was another anthology, and it was all about setting stories in the Ohio Literary Trail, tying it
Oh.
somehow to Ohio's literary history. And
Hmm.
this was at a time I just finished the first novel. I was trying to start the second, and I just felt dry.
Mm.
And so the short story opportunity came up, and I decided to write it in a Columbo style.
Okay.
So this snobby New York novelist comes to Marlin County, Ohio, and he says he's researching Ohio's literary history for an essay, but it's actually a cover for a crime he's planning. And so you read to see if the, backwoods county sheriff can catch him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's cool. I love that. I love that. So each book then is Ray really kind of attempting to solve a mystery.
Yes,
Does she get personally thrust into these mysteries or does she insert herself because she's naturally investigative?
both.
Okay.
In fact, in the second novel, her dad is worried in that she likes to help people.
Okay.
Um, when she sees people in trouble, she wants to get involved, and he's telling her, you can't always do that.
Mm-hmm.
But like in the second novel, her con man Uncle Troy comes back to the county,
Okay.
and her dad says, well, he's not here to visit family over Memorial Day weekend. There's a reason he's here.
Hmm.
And then the ex-wife of a family friend is back in town, and there's a custody dispute. But she
Okay.
also gets, so it's people that she knows, but she wants to help out.
Yeah. So it's that natural, innate desire to help that kind of gets her sucked into other people's problems that then gets her in
Hmm.
trouble too,
Yeah.
potentially. Maybe. Oh, that sounds super fun. Now, does Ray Riley have like a best friend or anything as far as like sidekicks and stuff? Because I know like the Hardy Boys, you have a couple and Trixie Belt and there's Jim and I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember. Honey. I'm trying to remember all the
Yes,
names
it
of
was
the
Honey
the
Wheeler.
first Honey Wheeler, and then didn't she have a crush on Jim? Wasn't he the adopted
I
brother?
can't remember. I think Trixie liked Jim.
I
I
think
can't
Trixie
remember
liked
who.
Jim.
I can't remember because Jim was Honey's adopted brother.
Right. I
And
think
then
Trixie had a crush on him. And then wasn't there a was there a Marty?
Martin was Trixie's brother.
That's
He was
right.
11 months older than she was. And then there was an
That's right.
older brother, Brian.
Look at us. Look at us. Okay. So not to get off on Trixie Belden, but if anybody has not read those, best series ever. Second, of course, to Rae Riley. So does Rae Riley have friends like that, or kind of how do you have that social dynamic for teenagers?
Well, she has a cousin who lives on the next door farm who's
Okay.
16. And Amber thinks Ray is just the coolest person on the planet because she's 4 years older than she is.
Sure. Yeah.
And and Amber really becomes a major character in A Riddle in the Lonesome October. So
Okay.
in that novel, she's really Ray's sidekick and has her own story. In other novels, Ray's best friend at work, she works as a checkout clerk at the local library.
Okay.
And there's a single mom, Devin, who works there. And so she considers her best friend.
Okay.
And then she's also made friends with the young deputies in her dad's agency. And she
Hmm.
has a growing relationship with one, Chris Kincaid. And
Okay.
he's a
I was
guy.
gonna. That's probably a good
With
clarification.
with Ray and Chris, it's hard to tell.
That's true. You have very neutral names, but that's okay because they're popular names too. I was going to ask you if there was like any threads of romance in the story or how you weave that in, or if it's mostly suspense and mystery.
In the Lonesome October, I put in the most, I wouldn't call it romance because I don't
Mhm.
use the tropes, but it's her
Sure.
growing relationship with Chris.
Yep. That's fair. That's fair. Kind of an organic relationship then because you're working together and then having those subtle moments of attraction, I'm assuming.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, when you're coming up with ideas for these stories, where are you gleaning your intrepid adventures from? Are you listening to podcasts or reading books, or did you just have an overactive imagination like me?
Overactive imagination,
Okay.
definitely. Um, I usually think of my climax first,
Okay.
and then, so I know who did it, and I usually know why. It's working out the details, and I'm a
Sure.
pantser.
Okay.
I'll sketch out, okay, chapter one needs to establish this, chapter two needs to do this, do three or four of those, and then just start writing. And I
Okay.
usually write
Yep.
longhand, and then I type it up and improve it and see
Sure.
if it's worth anything. And then I'll do the next 4 or 5 chapters.
Okay, so I have to ask, I think you're one of the first authors I've actually had the chance to ask this of, but I know you're not the first author to write longhand. But what is it about writing longhand, that first draft of the story? Why would you choose longhand over computer?
Um, and when I first started writing regularly, like my first short story was published in 2018.
Hmm.
I just found like the blank screen just staring at me to be very intimidating. I
Okay.
felt like I was sculpting with oven mitts on. It wasn't immediate enough.
Sure.
And I think there's something about working with your hand and seeing your own handwriting that personalizes it. It makes it more inspiring, I guess.
Okay.
But the more I've written, I've wondered if I can go to purely writing online. I've acquired a lot of arm and neck and back pain from writing,
I bet.
and I'm wondering if I'm going to have to go to all computer work just to save my right side of my body.
The woes of getting older, right? Your hand's going, you've been using me enough for these years. Give me a
Yeah.
break. Okay, so that's interesting. I've not personally tried to write any story longhand. I always feel like my mind is working so fast I can't keep up with my hand, and then I get stuck. Like I just stop because I'm like, where was I again? So
No, I like the slower pace.
okay,
with the first draft, since I'm being creative, it helps slow me down so
Mm-hmm.
I can put more details in. But I really do hate the first draft because I think it's ugly and
Mm-hmm.
bad, and
Mm-hmm.
I love the editing process because
Mm-hmm.
then I can actually see if what I'm doing is working.
Right, right. Yeah. I totally agree with you on that. I'm in the editing process right now in one of my books, and when my editor sent back her thoughts, which she always has great ones on the draft, I was like, "Oh, that was a great first story. What are you talking about?" And then I'm going through and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. She even read this." Now I can fix it. Now that I can take a, broad step back and go, "Oh, wow."
I felt that way with this latest manuscript when I sent it to my beta readers. I thought I gave them a pretty clean copy.
Yeah.
And one of them is a writer, and she found all these typos. And she said, I hope you don't mind me correcting these because I hate looking at something 17 times and still having a typo. I said, Oh, no, fine. I'm just
Yeah.
sorry they were all there for you.
I know, I know. Yeah, I've had some where I've sent drafts in or edits or whatever, and I have literally read it out loud. I've done everything. And then my editors will be like, very kindly again, be like, so we probably need to slow down and make sure we edit. And I'm like, did it 17 times. Oh, but it is what it is, right?
Well, I had the pleasure of I had to turn in my manuscript by May 1st, and right around then, my younger son, who loves mysteries,
Okay.
um, he said I could read it to him. This is the
Oh,
first. Nobody in my family has, not, my husband or my kids have not read any of my stories, except my oldest son read the Christmas short story for an English assignment.
okay.
Um, and so we would sit at night and I would read to him. And I had sent it to my publisher and I was still finding typos.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It's
And,
funny.
and so I said, Thank you, Cole, for letting me do this with you because I'm doing another edit."
Right, exactly. I know. It's crazy. I've had books, I mean, every single book that has been put out, I will get an email from a reader who has caught something. It's just inevitable.
Oh,
And it'll go through, like with Bethany House, there's at least 5 or 6 different pairs of editorial eyes. So
wow.
when you think about how many people read it and still miss that, it's just
Yeah.
human error. So,
Well, this is the first draft I've done read aloud on, and it's
okay.
helped a lot.
Yeah, it does. It does. Sentences that make sense when you're reading it versus when you read it out loud. It's really interesting how it changes the read through, and
Yes.
even how a sentence flows. Because I'll read a sentence, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And then when I read it out loud, I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
No, no. That was one of the nice things reading it out loud to my son. I was putting inflection in and everything, and that sometimes I'd hit something and go, well, that's kind of a tongue twister.
Yes. And I don't know if your books are on audio. Do you have audiobooks?
Yes.
Yeah. So then your narrators are going, "Oh, what on earth is this?" Oh, funny. So the book that you have coming out in October is a Rae Riley mystery. It's called oops, I lost it on my computer screen. Remind me of the title again.
A Riddle in the Lonesome October.
Okay. So give us a brief overview of what that specific story is about.
Okay. Can I read you my blurb?
Absolutely. That's the easiest way to do it.
Okay. Yes. How do you survive a season of fear? October is a hard month for Rae Riley's family. Her dad, Sheriff Walter Malinowski, lost his wife and father then, and he also has to manage the trouble Halloween brings to rural Marlin County, Ohio. But this year, Ray's uncle fights for his life after a riding accident rumored to have been caused by Bigfoot, and a family feud over a lost inheritance erupts at a local Halloween attraction. As Rae tries to support her family, she and her cousin Amber work to unravel the 70-year-old riddle that will reveal the location of the inheritance so their great Aunt Lily and her kids can gain a fortune. And Rae must deal with the secretive behavior of the deputy she's fallen for. When a medium conducts a seance to contact Cyrus Morley, the man who devised the riddle, the results stun everyone, and the aftermath is even more shocking. There's only one way to survive a season of so much fear, and only one way to unmask a killer.
Dun dun dun. You had so many key words in there that my eyebrows, I think, disappeared in my hair. I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Oh, what it doesn't have is that the riddle is based on the Edgar Allan Poe poem El Dorado.
Sold. I need 87,000 copies, please. Sent to my doorstep now. Oh, I love that. So you actually, with this one, have a little like historical classic elements weaving through it also.
Yes. Yes, and the Halloween attraction is set on the property that was owned by Cyrus Morley, the man who hid the inheritance. And he was an occult
Okay.
geek and an Edgar Allan Poe. Um, well, he had the clue based on El Dorado. So the attraction has all these scenes based on Edgar Allan Poe's stories.
Okay. Can you make that a real thing and I'll come visit?
Well, Ohio, I did research. Ohio, as of 2023, had the most paid Halloween attractions in the country. It's big
Wow.
business.
Okay, so Ohio just took a step up in its popularity, in my opinion. I did not realize that.
Yeah, there are all kinds of, and I deliberately called mine The Haunting in the Hollow
Hmm.
because I passed one, um, the southeastern part of the state's very hilly, and I
Okay.
passed one called The Haunting in the Hills, um, or the Haunted Hollow. I mean, there's all different kinds of names, and I
Yeah,
didn't want to latch onto somebody's.
right. Oh, that's fun. So she's got an inheritance that is part of family history. And
Yes.
then you have kind of the Halloween vibe here. You
Hmm.
mentioned the seance and things like that. So for readers who are listening, do you have a faith element that weaves through all of that, or how do you handle all of that? Because some people would be like, Halloween, and I get that some with my books too. So what's
Hmm.
your thoughts surrounding story and all that mystery?
Well, I treat Halloween the way I've treated it with my family. It's fun to get dressed up and go
Hmm.
trick or treat.
Hmm.
And Rae doesn't actually want to go participate in the attraction, as she
Okay.
says in the book, treating people like cuts of meat isn't her idea of entertainment. Um, so for years, I would host at my house a Halloween party for my kids and nieces and nephew, and we always
Okay.
emphasized mystery, kind of
Hmm.
a Scooby Doo kind of party.
Yep. Yep.
So that's what, such as the medium.
Hmm.
Um, Ray's dad thinks she's taking the man who's hired her,
Oh.
but she's doesn't have priors, and in fact, he can't
Mhm.
find anything about her beyond 2 years ago.
Sure. Oh,
So,
interesting.
um, so Ray doesn't believe she's actually has powers or she can do what she says
Hmm.
she's going to do.
Sure.
She believes she's up to something.
Okay. All right. So you're kind of like, you could probably go along with me with the whole tagline that I write mysteries and hauntings and paranormal in the Scooby Doo way,
Yes.
where there's always something hiding under the sheet that's a little bit more explainable, but it's fun to try to get there.
Yes, that's what Ohio also has a tradition with Bigfoot.
Oh,
And so I
really?
did research for that. There's a lot of
Okay.
Bigfoot groups in Ohio. So when Ray's uncle has his riding accident, his 12-year-old daughter's with him. In fact,
Hmm.
he's pinned under his stallion and she keeps him out of the water that he's fallen into. And she
Okay.
said she saw a big hairy animal.
Oh, interesting.
So somebody posts that online and the Bigfoot hunters come. Now, in southeastern Ohio, you can have black bears. They're
Yeah.
unusual, but that you can have them.
Hmm.
So, is it Bigfoot? Is it a black bear? Is it
Mm.
somebody dressed up as Bigfoot?
Okay, I have to ask this because Bigfoot is a little bit less controversial than like seances, but do you think there really is Sasquatch, Bigfoot?
No.
Okay.
My oldest son, when he was in elementary school, instead of watching Paw Patrol, he watched nature.
Mhm.
I have had a huge education in animals, and And for something that big to live undetected just isn't likely anymore, especially not in the
No,
United States. Now, the
unfortunately.
sea, there could be something in the ocean we don't know about.
I would agree with you on that. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I like watching like I mean, I know they're extremely unrealistic, but I like watching like the Meg movies with the
Oh, yeah.
megalodon sharks that are so massive they could swallow a ship. I just that would be, you
Well,
know,
we didn't know there was the kraken was an actual creature until a whole bunch washed up on the shore of Newfoundland in the
right?
1870s.
Yep. Yep.
So, yeah, the sea holds a lot of mysteries.
Yeah. I think the sea has a lot of things that someday we're going to be like, "What?" And we swam in that. Although I'm not gonna lie, when we do go camping out west, I do like to, my kids are teenagers now. They're not as easy to scare, but I still like to like hear sounds in the woods and go, oh, it's Bigfoot. It's Bigfoot. It's a Sasquatch. They're coming for you. Oh man.
Well, my editor and I had a problem with Bigfoot, the word.
Okay.
So if there's more than one, are they big feet? Or
Oh,
do you capitalize or lowercase? So we went with, and I've seen it both ways in the books I've read. So
okay.
we went with lowercase Bigfoot. You use it like you would bear or
Yeah.
cow.
Yeah.
And plural is Bigfoots.
Okay. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
So if
We'll
you
have
write
to
about
ask.
one, you know now.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. I always wanted, I honestly, since I was a kid, I really want to believe in Bigfoot. I just always thought he was a misunderstood animal slash person, and I would have these deep, deep moments of empathy for Bigfoot. And my mom was like, "You are the strangest child," because everyone's like, "Run, it's a Sasquatch," and I'm like, "Oh, the poor thing, he's so alone."
There's something about those kind of mysteries that appeal to kids,
Yes.
especially in junior high. That's when I started getting interested.
Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
younger son is too.
Yeah.
And we recently watched a Mystery Science Theater 3000 of
Yes.
the Boggy Creek Monster, which is the
Yes.
Arkansas version of
I've seen that
Bigfoot.
one.
Okay, he
Yes,
loved it. He
I've
loved
seen
it.
that. Yeah, if people haven't watched Mystery Science 3000, just make that a priority. You just have to. It's like cult classics. Like you just
Yes.
once you're hooked, you're hooked.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, Jen, is there anything else we should know? I mean, we've literally covered everything except the end of the world, and we won't go there today. So, is there anything else we need to know about how do readers get your books, find out more about what's coming, etc.?
Okay. Um, well, you can, I'm on Amazon, I'm on
Hmm.
Goodreads, I'm on BookBub. I have a website, JPC Allen Writes,
Hmm.
where I give every Monday I have a writing prompt and every Thursday a writing tip. So if you're a writer, please stop by.
Absolutely.
Um, I just I love the family that I've created, the Malinowskis, and it's so fun to see what adventure will come next. And the reason why I write is I write with my father,
Mm,
and it's I have gotten to know him better by writing my stories. And I never start with I'll start with a theme with the idea that I have just penciled it in. And then
okay.
as I write, I pray and a theme will bubble up to the surface.
Mm, hmm.
And that's why, like this novel, I start with how do you survive a season of fear? It's
Yeah.
all different kinds of fear.
Yep. Yep.
And but I also want to write a really good mystery that'll keep you guessing until the climax.
Right, right, absolutely. All right, and these are mysteries that are technically young adult, although adults sound like to me I could read them very easily and be thoroughly
I have a
intrigued.
lot of adult buyers.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. So awesome. Well, your website is jpcallen.com or jpcallenwrites.com,
And
correct?
that's my Facebook and Instagram page too.
Okay, perfect. So easy for people to find you, and they can find you on Amazon, grab your books,
Mhm.
and then get that October release on pre-order.
Yes, that'll be
So you,
mid-August.
okay, all right. So mid-August, we'll have that ready for pre-order, and then you got some books to catch up on for Rae Riley before it releases. So
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today. It was so much fun chatting, and I got more reading to do.
Well, I hope I haven't made your TBR pile too daunting.
I am all for a leaning tower of TBRs.
Okay.
And that's a wrap for today here at Madlet Musings. I hope you join us again. And if you want to, be sure you like and subscribe here at your favorite podcast player or on YouTube, because you won't want to miss all the wonderful alerts that let you know when we have another conversation for you to eavesdrop on.